Hello everyone, this is Crystal Potthoff from Prayerful Arts, and I forgot to turn the microphone on when I did this part of the video, so I'm going to talk about it, and my hands probably won't be aligned with the video. But this was a suggestion by Traveling Barbarian, who had asked me if I could demonstrate the pattern that I used in the Easter video that I did. And I looked all over. I thought I'd done it, but I guess I hadn't. So I'm happy to share this pattern with you today. So to start off, I am going to divide the egg into 8 sections. I'm going to make little marks at the 90 and the 90-60 and draw 2 lines that go all the way around the egg vertically, and then I will draw the equator around the egg as well. This is a really fun pattern to do, and it's very adaptable. We'll talk about it as we go through the pattern. And now I'm drawing the equator. I'm going to be giving the directions for this on obviously on a chicken egg, but if you can do this on any size egg, but you'll want to know how wide you want to make the band based on the distance from the top to the bottom. So because a chicken egg is 8 centimeters from top to bottom, and I want 4 sections, well, I guess 8 total on each band, I'm going to divide it into a band that's 2 centimeters wide. So that will then give me the 4. And so I'm marking it all the way around at 2 centimeters, and then I'll connect these lines, and then and I'm using my watercolor pencil, which is I'll link the video to this, the test where I used watercolor pencils. It's been working out really well for me. It doesn't leave lines on the eggs at the end. It didn't work out so well on using the white watercolor on the black, but it works well on the white chicken egg. So now I'm marking the same 2 centimeter band on the other vertical line. So you see that this band and the one that I just drew will overlap each other, and that's what you want. And it's actually going to make a nice 2 centimeter square for us to put our elements in. So marking that with the pencil. And the other side. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on the equator. So you can see there's where it crossed at the top and bottom, and now it's going to cross on the side. So again, I am doing 2 centimeters all the way around the egg. And while the vertical bands are fairly even with 2 centimeter squares, the one around the equator has some sections that aren't quite square, because this particular chicken egg, and most chicken eggs, are not 8 centimeters around. They're just 8 centimeters long. So if you had kind of a big fat egg, something shaped more all the way around like an ostrich egg, everything could divide up into squares. But for this pattern, it works out well to have the smaller areas. It's not a problem. All right, and there we have the two vertical bands and the one horizontal band drawn. And where they cross like that, we're going to put in a circle. And you can use a suction cup, you can use a compass, or you can eyeball it. I didn't happen to have my suction cup handy, so I'm just going to freehand a circle in each one of these areas, kind of using where it's divided into 4 sections. You can kind of see it, and I'm kind of using that to help me guide me draw a fairly good circle. They turned out pretty good. I was happy with them. And we got the 4 going around the equator, and then there'll be 1 at the top and at the bottom. All right, we have all of those drawn. Now, in the other areas, we are going to draw a diamond. In the ones that are in the vertical bands, those are going to be more evenly diamond shaped. So each of the 4 lines will be, fairly consistent in shape, like that. And you can measure it out if you're more comfortable measuring it. I'm just kind of eyeballing it to draw those in place. I am using that center line to help me line it up. So I have it, and now I'm on the one band. Now I'm going to do it on the other one. And in this pattern, there are 6 circles and 12 diamonds total, in case you're wondering. And there's nothing to say that you have to do it like this. You could put diamonds where I put squares, or diamonds where I put circles, and circles where I put diamonds. It's entirely up to you, but this is how I did it. All right, now we're going to put diamonds in the other area of the equator. So you can see it's not really a square, it's more rectangle shaped. So the diamonds will be a little, they'll be a little bit longer, but again, it works very well in this design. And there'll be 4 of these around the equator. Okay, and now that we have all that drawn on, there is one other thing I'm going to draw on the egg, and for this one I'm going to use the red pencil. You don't have to switch colors, or you don't even need to use colored pencils if you don't want. But this makes like a little band in it, but it pushes the element forward. So I'm just drawing a little line inside the band, but I'm stopping when I get to either the diamond or the circle. And I'm going to go all the way around, making those little lines, right like that. I didn't measure it. I just kind of eyeballed it, and if you want to measure it, you can. It's just a small area. So you're going to do it on both sides, and I started this on the equator. Okay, and now we're going to do this on the vertical band, the same thing, and these lines will also intersect with the lines that we just drew, and see it intersects, it makes a little square there, and it will do that all the way around the egg once you get all of the lines drawn on both vertical bands. And I will draw the other side. Okay, and now the last band. We're going to draw it all the way around both sides on the last band. And you can see these little squares are showing up right there. And we're just about done. Okay, and now I am going to wax the egg in the order that I drew the lines, and I'll come back and show you that. All right, we are back. I have all the wax on, and I have my microphone turned on too. So you can see it's the pattern. I waxed it the same way I drew the lines. I waxed this outer line on all of them, all the way around. And then I waxed the circles and the diamonds, and then I did this inner one. So now what I did in the original one was I dyed it, well, what I did, I dyed it yellow and then I dyed it gold. I'm debating, like, do I want to do the same color sequence? I'm not. Okay. I think I want to do something a little different, but similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye it in the Pysanky USA mushroom because I really like that color. And I know I'll get a nice contrast with the white. That was why on the other one I had to do the yellow and then the gold so that I got enough of a contrast with the white. But the elements that are going to go in the diamonds and the circles, so I'll draw those out so you can see what they look like. In the circles, all the circles, I'm going to draw a little circle like that. And then I'm going to draw the things that look like hearts. And it just kind of goes up and it's a curl, up, and a curl. That's all it is. That's all it is. And then I had a little extra space, so I did a thing like that. And that's what I did in the yellow. So I'm going to do that in the mushroom. So all these lines I just drew there, they'll be in the mushroom. Now in here, what I did was, again, I drew a circle. And then I drew, started out similar, but it goes way out to the side like that, way out to the side. And then it comes in, and then it has a little bulb shape on the top. And again, I do all of that. So I'm going to do the same elements. I'm just going to do them in different colors. Now, I am not going to draw these in all the squares. You could, but I'm not. If you're not comfortable with it, draw them in. I've done this a number of times, so I feel like I don't need to draw them all in. But it helps to draw a few so I know what I'm doing, because I did a few over there to make sure I knew what I was doing before I showed you what to do. Dyeing it mushroom, waxing all these elements, and then I'll be back and we'll talk about our next color. Here's the egg mushroom, and I haven't put any of the wax on it, but I wanted to show you that what I drew with the watercolor pencil, you can faintly see it on there. It does get lighter as you're putting it in the dye colors. So if you are going to draw something on the egg like that and you want to see it, you want to draw it kind of heavy, because some of it's going to get washed off because it is a watercolor pencil. Now I'm going to start waxing all of these. And let's see.
I'll just wax one of each so you can see it. So I start with the circle. And then I'm going to do a swirl. And I can always do the swirls better this way than that way. I don't know why it is, but not that they're not good. They're just, it seems more comfortable to do it the other way. And then I'm going to put in this little thing, which if you don't feel you have space for it, don't do it. So there's that, and then we'll do with the element that I'm going to put in the diamond. Again, I'm going to start with a circle, and then I'm going to draw great big swoopy lines out, come back in, and then draw that. So swoopy line out, and they do almost touch the previous one. If they do touch, that's okay. Swoopy line, in, topper, swoopy. All right. So we're going to do that. And then the other thing I am going to do is all these little squares. I'm going to completely cover them in. And there's a lot of little squares, so and usually what I do is like, okay, I did that one, so now I'm going to do all 4 of them around here. Now, they do share squares, so usually when there's a bunch of little things like that on there, I will count them all the way around before I go into the next color. And what is that next color going to be? I really like the teal color with the mushroom, so I might do that and then do a dark brown, although I've done a lot of them in that color. So I have to think about that. And I have time to think while I wax all these elements. All right, we're back. I went with the Ukrainian Gift Shop Scarlet, and I didn't leave it in there very long because I didn't want a deep red, because I'm going to use dark red next. In the video that I posted, the other video, I used, after I did the yellow or the gold, I washed it off and then I put it in the very light pink, which is a tablespoon of the pink dye from prepared pink dye from Ukrainian Gift Shop, a tablespoon of vinegar, and a cup of water. So what I'm going to do now is this little area. Actually, I'm going to use my medium Kiska. I was using the fine. This is my Lubas Electric with the medium, and I'm using my Ukrainian Accessories blue wax. So I'm going to completely fill in this area here in the bands, right in here, right like that, all the way around. All right, and that's all I'm going to do, and then I will dye it in the Ukrainian Gift Shop dark red. Now, one thing I didn't do previously to show you is when I drew out these elements, I did go back and the little circles that I made, I filled those in with wax while it was still in the mushroom. So that will also be the mushroom color. All right, so I'm going to go around, fill in my band, and then dye it in the dark red. And here we have this gorgeous dark red. On the camera, it looks kind of brown, but it's maybe a brownish red, but it's a very, I love it. I love it. Okay, so this is easy, but will take a little bit of time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fill in these areas here where I made the two loopy things, like the heart. To me, it looks like a heart. So fill in all of that area on where the circles are. And then on the diamonds, just going to do the same kind of thing. We're just going to completely fill in what we outlined with the mushroom. Just like that. And I'm going to go around and do that on all of them. And then for my final color, I am going to do black. But before I put it in the black, I'm going to put it in the dark green, because sometimes the black doesn't take as quickly over a red color. So I'm going to put it in the dark green. A lot of times when I do the dark green over the top of red, I'll get a brown. So if you ever want to get a brown and you don't have brown, you could try that, because on the color wheel, red and green are kind of opposite each other. So they're, no, they're not complement. Yeah, they're complementary colors. And if you mix two complementary colors, you get usually a shade of brown. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill in all these, going to dye it in the dark green, and then I'm not going to put any wax on it, and then I'll put it in the black, and I'll come back and show you the finished Pysanky. I'm so excited. And here we have the completed Pysanky. I really love the way this turned out. I love the two shades of red, the scarlet and then the dark red, and I especially love that dark red next to the mushroom. That looks so pretty. Anyway, so the color sequence on this one again was the white. I put it in mushroom, which was a Pysanky USA color. I did scarlet, which is a Ukrainian gift shop color, dark red, Ukrainian gift shop color, and then black is my final color, also Ukrainian gift shop. On the other one in the Easter video, I did the white, and then I dyed the egg yellow, and then I dyed it gold, so I had a really deep yellow. And then I waxed the gold. I didn't wax any when it was yellow. And then I washed it, and then I did very light pink for this area. I did pink where I have the dark red, and then I did purple. And those were all Ukrainian gift shop colors. So anyway, thank you, Traveling Barbarian. I don't know your real name, but thank you for asking me to demonstrate this. I thought I had done it, and I looked all through my videos, and I hadn't. So thank you for the suggestion. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope you had fun watching it. If you have any questions, leave me a note in the comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again for watching.